Hello fellow gingers, today I'm going to be doing a tutorial for the festive season for us redheads in association with Ginger Parrot, as they are doing the 24 days of Christmas for their advent calendar, and they've been featuring some of us red hot models. If you haven't seen the red hot calendar, please do check it out. There's a boys and girls calendar this year, so it's all very exciting because usually we just have the boys and this year there's the girls as well. So today I'm just going to teach you sort of my favourite products, which products I like on my skin, because I feel like us redheads have real issues finding really nice foundations that don't oxidise and turn orange. And just sort of showing you a nice Christmassy look, a bit of a glitter lip on, why not? It's Christmas. So I hope you like it and I hope you enjoy it and get to try it out at home. So I've already cleansed, toned and moisturised. At the moment I'm using Body Shop products. This is the Vitamin E Cream Cleanser. And this is the Vitamin E Hydrating Toner. I do usually like to stick with a range, but for my moisturiser I did decide to go with the Vitamin C Moisturiser, as it has an SPF 30 in it. I use this every day. It's a really nice rich moisturiser, so it's great if you've got sensitive skin or you're finding yourself drying out in the winter. I know a lot of redheads struggle finding foundations that they find pale enough for them. I personally use Graftobian, which is this one here. This is their High Def Glamour Cream in Ultralights palette. This is Silk Sprite, Nymph, Porcelain, Lady Fair and Ivory. As you can see, there's not too much difference in any of these. They are supposed to be cool, two cools here, neutral and warm. I really love this palette because it's actually pale enough for me, and I don't find that it oxidises, so it doesn't turn orange throughout the day. It stays a nice pale colour. This is actually too pale for me, which has never happened before. So it's great if you're very, very fair, but I really love it because I can sort of mix it with a darker colour, so I can sort of use it throughout the year. So I've just mixed that on the back of my hand. It's nice and creamy now, it's just warming through. So I'm going to get my ring finger, because this is the lightest finger and it doesn't apply too much pressure and doesn't drag the skin. I'm just going to pick some of the product up and place it in the areas that I want the most coverage. Some people go straight in with their brush, but I prefer to use my fingers first and then go over with a buffing brush or foundation brush or both. I always put a bit of foundation on my eyelids and on my lips because I feel like when you put a touch of powder over the top, it helps your makeup last longer and just shows the colour a bit more strongly. So I'm now going to go in with my crown brush. This is just a crown foundation brush that I got in one of their sets, which was around £50. And so I'm starting from the middle and working my way outwards. I'm sort of doing like half circle movements, but very quickly. So now that I've blended out my base, I'm now going to go in and do a light bit of contouring just to sort of sharpen up my features and make it more of a nighttime look. Because obviously this is a festive season, so we want something a little bit more glamorous than day to day. So I'm now going to go in with my Graftobian and I'm going to pick a darker colour. Usually I go for about this one or this one, depending on how strong I want the contour to look. So this one or this one usually. And now I'm going to get one of my more fluffy brushes, the crown brush again. This is just sort of fluffy and quite flat. So I'm just going to pick up a bit of the colour on the tip of my brush. Sort of just blending it out on my hand at the same time so that I've not got too much. And I'm just going to follow my cheekbone right up. I'm going to go down the sides of my nose. And into my temples as well. Some people like to do their forehead, I personally don't. I already have a 3-finger forehead and I don't need it to look any smaller than it already does, so I'm just going to leave that one alone. And now with this brush again, I'm going to go back in and start blending out basically into my hairline, but obviously you don't want to be leaving foundation in your hairline, you want that to be nicely buffed out. Another trick, if you like your lips to look fuller, is taking a bit of the dark and putting a line here and underneath your bottom lip. So now you're starting to get there. As you can see, the contour is still quite harsh, quite strong. I'm now going to go in with a lighter colour and go back over my cheekbones, down my nose, my top lip and my bottom lip. So I've now got a flat concealer brush by Fake Face, quite a large concealer brush, quite flat, quite thick, and it's got quite a sturdy bristle to it. And I'm just going to go back underneath my eyes, down the centre of my nose, and over my lips as well. And a touch just in the middle of my chin. So now that's all sort of sitting there. Some people like to let their makeup cook, which is just sort of letting it sit. That sort of helps the contour, warms through, and is just more blendable. But I'm just going to go straight in with my Real Techniques blending brush. I'm going to go sweep from underneath the eye, just downwards, quite aggressively, to make sure that all of the foundation is blended in together and there's no harsh lines. So the first thing I'm going to do is I picked this little Rimmel quad up from my local pharmacy. I just like the look of it and I wanted to try it, and it was very cheap, so I just grabbed it. I'm going to take the lightest colour and I'm going to take this right up into my brow bone. It's got a slight shimmer to it, so it makes a really nice highlight as well. So now that's nicely covered, as you can see, it's got a quite nice sheen to it. It's not gritty or glittery like some shimmers can be. It's very, very light, just more light reflecting than a strong shimmer. I'm now going in with the YSL quad palettes. This is number 6. They're pure chromatics. I'm just going to go in and take this real nice gold bronzy colour, again with the flat brush. I'm just sort of loading my brush up, and I'm just going to put this over my whole eyelid. So I am sticking to sort of the traditional warm tones today, but I do believe that most redheads can get away with wearing different purple shades, teals, things like that on their eyes. Obviously it depends on your eye colour as well, but purples look fantastic with blue eyes and hazel eyes. As you can see, I'm taking it right up and into my crease, but not into my eyebrow, so keep it quite centralised. So this is just a little brown eyeliner, again, that I picked up from my local chemist. And I'm just going to go from halfway my lash line to my outer corner. I'm going to do the same on my top lid as well. So now what I'm going to do is get my Sleek palette, and I'm just going to go for this sort of chocolatey, sparkly, bronzy colour. Always tap off the excess so you don't get a fallout on the cheek. And I'm just going to start blending this harsh line. So once you feel like you've blended that out enough, I'm now going to go back in with the same colour. Just pick a bit off just on the tip of the brush, again tap off the excess. I'm now just going to go in my crease, just keeping the brush quite flat to the socket line. Now that I've got that sort of cut crease there, I'm now going to blend that all out and just soften the whole thing. So this is just a round soft brush. This is also by Fake Face, and I'm just going to do small circles, just buffing the colour and bringing it up and outwards. So going towards the brow. So I'm now going to go in and do my liquid liner. This is one of my favourite cheap eyeliners. This is Collection 2000. I think they're just called Collection now. Fast stroke eyeliner. I'm just going to go in and do quite a thin look. Again, a lot of people say that redheads shouldn't wear black on their eyes because we're so fair, so we should always stick to sort of brown tones, brown mascaras, brown eyeliners, stuff like that. I think it's a load of rubbish. Personally, I have got dark eyes and dark eyelashes and brows and stuff already, so I go straight in with black. I'm not messing around. As you can see, I sort of do my eyeliner going back and forth from eye to eye. I know that some people just go straight in with the cat liner, but I find that's when you come into sort of problems, when you've got one perfect eye and you try and replicate it and it doesn't look the same at all. So I sort of do each part on each eye back and forth. So now that my liquid liner and my eyeshadow are pretty much done, I'm now going to move on to my brows. So today I'm going to use a powder. So the first thing I always do is get a spoolie or a disposable mascara wand. You can get these on Amazon. I think they're brilliant because they make your mascara last longer. Obviously, if you're getting bacteria in your mascara, it's not going to last as long. So if you're using disposables, it will last longer because it's not as unhygienic. So I'm just going to brush my brows out. I sort of brush upwards and then pull them back down into the arch. And when I'm sort of happy with that shape, I then go in with my angled brush. So this is my angled brush. As you can see, it's quite small. I know you can get different sizes. I really like this small one because I like getting the initial line in here and then brushing outwards. So I had a bit of an accident with my palette just a second ago. So I would usually use colours from this palette, but we're going to have to scrap that because we lost them. So for my eyebrows, I'm going to be using the Sleek palette in Storm 578. I love this palette, as you can tell. I've hit pan on quite a few of them, which breaks my heart. But I love these two, as this has got quite an orangey sort of tone, as does this, a bit more of a red to it, without being too much. I like to mix them together and sort of just squidge it right on the brush, get it right in there, get a good mix of the two, and tap the excess off. So I'm going to start sort of here and just start filling the bottom of my brow to sort of the arch. So I do that first and then just gently pull the colour across, and right here where you've got your fluffy bit of your brow, I just sort of flick the colour so it deposits colour without making it too heavy, and it's a nice gradual line into the brows. Again, picking up that colour. I pick a bit more dark when I'm about to do my tail, so that it has a bit more definition, it has that nice gradient. So I'm going a little bit above as well and filling in that sort of gap there, and bring it right down into the tail of my eyebrow. Always tap off the excess, otherwise you'll end up looking more like Groucho Marx, which is not really the desired effect. Well, maybe it is, but not for me. Again, just sort of filling that brow from the bottom to the arch, then picking up a little bit more colour, tapping it off, going into that tail. So I'm just finishing off my eyebrows now. I'm pretty happy with the colour and fullness. I personally like my eyebrows dark. They're quite naturally dark for my hair colour anyway, and I like them to be quite pronounced, so it's quite a strong look. I'm now going to go back over with my spoolie and just sort of brush them out again, up and out, just to sort of soften them up a little bit and make them look a little bit more natural. Now that my eye area is pretty much done, I'm now going to do my mascara. Before I do that, I'm going to go in with my very classy eyelash curlers. These were from Primark. They were bought solely on the fact that they are Diamante and not for much other reason. They do work really, really well though, and they're only about £2. So I like to get right at the base of my lash line, and I'm sort of like almost pulsating. And as I'm doing that, I'm sort of working my way down the lash line. I feel like that gives them less of like, it just flip up and more of a curve. I'm now going to go in with my Scandalise Extreme Mascara. This is in Black is Black, no, Extreme Black. I like the formulation of this mascara, but I'm not that keen on the brush. I feel like it loads up a lot and it's really, really hard to sort of not get clumps and sort of scrape that out. But with the disposable mascara ones, you have a lot more control. I also like to bend the tips of my mascara ones and use them like that. Like that. So as this is so loaded already, I'm just going to take it off of the original mascara wand. Right, so I'm just going to go in now in a zigzag fashion, just picking up all of my lashes. Now I feel like I've got a good coating on my top lash line. I'm just going to take the excess and just wiggle it over my bottom lashes as well. You don't have to do your bottom lash line, it's really personal preference. I like it because I quite like the sort of doe-eyed effect, but if you find that you get dark rings around, it's best left avoided, or sort of like I'm doing, just sort of touching the lashes rather than coating them. So for my hollowing of my cheeks, I'm again using Sleek. This is their Face Form Contouring and Blush Palette in Light 373. I have abused this palette. I think it's one of my favourite blusher palettes. As you can see, I've absolutely used all of it apart from the dark, because obviously you just don't need as much as that. Make sure there's no excess foundation on it and just sort of pick up any colour onto the tip of the brush. And now I'm going to really tap the excess off. So there's basically barely any product left on. I'm going to just go back in. And you don't even really want to see too much colour deposited. This is more almost like a shadow effect. And again down the nose as well. And I'm just blending it out with my fingers, making sure, again, there's no harsh lines. So this is again the blush by Free. This is Lace 367, Crochet Jupure, maybe, I don't know, and Chantilly. I'm going to sort of sweep over all three, but concentrate on the middle colour. Just because I love shimmer, I love highlighter, I love anything with a sort of shiny sort of tone to it. So I'm going to again tap all of the excess off. So there's barely any sort of colour on there. And big cheesy smile, and just from the apples of my cheeks sort of in circles up to my temple. Trying to catch that hollow at the same time and blend that out. Again, cheesy smile, bring it up to the temple. I promise that's not my stomach, we just have a very grumpy sausage dog who's not getting any attention. So I think that's enough, nice and blended out, right into the brow bone. I like that because I just feel like it draws the eye and makes the cheekbone look more pronounced. I'm just going to go over and just sort of soften that line. I'm going to take off any excess on the back of my hand and go over my nose and down into my cheeks and under my eyes. And just make sure that the blush is looking pretty seamless. So now for the fun part, I'm going to use a couple of different products. I'm going to go for MUA Intense Colour Lip Liner. This is Red Drama. Right, so I'm going to go straight in. And because I like the fullness of my bottom lip and my top lip is somewhat lacking, I am going to overdraw my top lip. So that's sort of my lip liner done, that's the base. So now I'm going to go in with one of my favourite lip glosses ever, which I feel like is the most festive thing that you can get this season. That is Lime Crime. Lime Crime is quite famous on like Instagram, Tumblr, that kind of place. It's not in high street stores, unfortunately. It is a fantastic brand. I believe it's vegan as well. This is their carousel gloss, and it is just, this is in candy apple, and this is just gorgeous. It's just such a pure red, and it is very, very glittery. So I'm just going to take that out. The wand is lovely as well. It's not the typical sort of sponge wand. I personally hate those. This is actually a brush, but again, for the sake of hygiene, I will put it on the back of my hand rather than directly on my lips. So as you can see, it's on the back of my hand. I've just got a very plain sort of tapered lip brush, so it goes out into a point. Now I'm just going to pick the product up on both sides of my brush, just start applying. So as I showed you, a very typical and very traditional sort of Christmas look with the winged eyeliner and the red lip, I thought I'd show you something a little bit more exciting and a little bit more adventurous for us gingers. Like I was talking about earlier, people always tell us to keep to our neutral tones and, you know, keep it very natural and blah blah blah. Well, I'm going to go in pond green lipstick because I bloody love it. This is again Lime Crime. This is unicorn lipstick. The packaging is absolutely stunning. And this is sort of like an emerald green. This is Serpentina A35, and it is just a gorgeous, gorgeous dark green, a real Christmassy green if you want it to be Christmassy, but for me it's more of like a Medusa colour, but I think it will work really, really well for Christmas time. As you can see, it's already quite pigmented. So as much as I like this colour, I'm now going to go in with Hologram, again by Lime Crime. This is another one of their carousel glosses, so it's the same as the Candy Apple. It's just nice and dense and full of glitter. I'm not going to go too over the top with this. I'm just going to put a touch on the back of my hand, and using my ring finger, I'm just going to press into the middle of my lip and my Cupid's bow. I'm just sort of tapping that down the centre, just to give it a more 3D effect. So this is my more unusual Christmas look, and I hope you like it, and I hope it's a little bit more different to the usual terracottas and corals and stuff that we hear about, because I definitely think that this is a great colour for redheads, and we can certainly pull it off, so we might as well. So guys, I hope that you've enjoyed the tutorial today and you've got a few looks for the festive season. This is one of my first makeup tutorials and hopefully one of many for the upcoming year. So if you liked it, give us a thumbs up, and if you're feeling extra giving this season, give us a share as well. Thank you very much.